Welcome to Jesus-Centric Life. I'm Donna. I'm here with Pastor Josh, and we have Thomas back at the table. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, how's it feel to be sitting here with us?
I guess I'm important enough to be in your presence. So.
He's ready to go home. He's ready to leave.
That does sound kind of weird. How does it feel to be sitting here with us? But anyway, Thomas, today we want to talk about who is discipling our kids. And we want to start out with, when you look at students that you work with today, what worries you the most about the next generation spiritually?
I think, and I guess it kind of gets into the bigger conversation, I think the biggest worry is like how many voices this generation has pouring into them. And I think, there's voices from everywhere. Like hopefully the church is like the biggest voice in students' lives, but like technology, social media, like you get every voice. Like even on my own feed, like I'm getting messages from Mormons or other apologetic things or like anti-Christian or whatever. And it's like, if I'm seeing that as the youth guy at the church, like I'm sure our students are seeing far more. And so I think that's probably the biggest challenge is like how many voices there are and then sifting through like what are the right voices to listen to.
So give us, I think that's just great the way you said that. Give us like, what do you think the top 3 to 5 voices are that students are hearing today?
I couldn't give like a name. Is that kind of what you want, or like topics? I could
like social media. Would you say that's 1, 2, or 3?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, social media is definitely number 1, I'd say. I think then you could kind of bounce to the different medias, like number 2 being probably TV, and then movies, and then probably 4 being like your peers or parents, and then 5 hopefully the church, but
wow,
it's probably further down the list if we were being honest.
What would you put it at?
I don't know. I'd have to make the list, but I just know like you have teachers speaking into you, you have your peers from school, and coaches, people on the street, and just like I think the plethora of voices online is kind of what bumps the church, and like hopefully some of your church content is like popping up on social media, but the likelihood of that is low, I'd say.
So do you think the church needs to have a bigger social media presence to bump Jesus up? Like, I don't know how else to say that.
I think it's a tool. I don't think it should be the primary tool. I think like when I've seen like really edifying and good content online, like the shorts content, like TikTok, YouTube Short, Instagram Reels, like
right.
There's some really good, like Josh Howerton is one, and there's like a guy I watch, he's Red Pen Logic. He's like, he does all this apologetic stuff, or Mike Winger, and like these are kind of like bigger names, but I think there's really good short form content and long form content, but I think the bigger challenge is how do we get students and just people in general like more off social media and like more in the church amongst community, because there's kind of this thing with social media, like with the reels, but really just in general, like there's this sort of parasocialness, which means like we think we're being social, but really we're not. Like I'm seeing your life play out online, right. And it's like I have nothing to do with it, but I'm participating in it. Like we had a lot of that with COVID, like that parasocialness.
Right.
We're not really being social with one another, but I kind of think I am because I'm online.
I sat with a student during COVID who was listening to their class lecture and doing their nails and was muted and was not engaged at all, but kept saying, "Yeah, I'm in class. I'm here. I'm in it."
That's how I was during COVID. I was playing Minecraft while the teacher was lecturing.
I think I remember sitting with you and seeing that. So yeah. So Thomas, as we look at it, I like how you said that. How do you handle that? Because you're not on social media. It's been one of your goals to kind of stay off. So how do you speak into the culture about something that you're not really versed with, but yet you are, because you knew all these people?
Yeah, it's like a weird tension. I guess like I am and I am not on social media. Like I still have Facebook. Like that's the one technical social media profile I do have, but I'm also on YouTube, and like YouTube's probably like my biggest social media. I think it's definitely a social media, but it's not like as interconnected as an Instagram or a Facebook or a Snapchat or maybe TikTok, but like I can get the same sort of content on YouTube. And so I think it's, in a way, trying to set the example of like you don't need social media, but also recognizing like it is a huge part of the world today, not just like this next generation's culture. Like it's just a part of the world.
Yeah, I think you fall into the same generation that my son does. And I just read you're the generation that remembers life without it and life became it.
Yeah.
So it was that 5-year span. Yeah. This generation will never know a time without it. Yeah. I remember a time without it. Yeah, we won't talk about you, Pastor.
Yeah, well, and I think the challenge, and so like I'm with you that I do watch some YouTube reels. That's like but I think the challenge is that I can, and I've rarely done this, but there's been a few times where I've been on there like for 30 minutes or an hour, and you can watch, 60 different videos.
Hundreds, probably.
Or hundreds, depending on how quick. And so you can watch like all this content, but you're getting it from multiple people, and you're getting the most sensationalized and the most blunt parts of it, and you're not being discipled by someone deeply, although you're getting all this content. And I think there's a difference from Thomas sitting down and having an hour conversation with a student.
Right.
And somebody hearing just the highlights of 30 different sermons even. Let's say all they're doing is listening to sermons. The difference from being discipled with the main points or the shocking things of 30 sermons versus one 30-minute sermon is totally different.
Yeah. I think within this conversation, like it's super important to touch on like the mental health side of things, because like the stats will show, I think the first iPhone came out in 2007, and then like Facebook got its like button in like 2009 or 2010, and then TikTok became a thing like 2015, 2016, and like you're seeing all these super heavy marks of when these different technologies came out, and like there's a correlational curve of how mental health in young people is decreasing basically.
In everybody.
Yeah, in men and women, but majority within like the younger generation, like 12 to 18, 12 to 20, 25. And I think like that's important to bring up, like with what Pastor's saying of like the 1 hour conversation versus the 30-second short. Like there's the science behind it is like there's this cool word dopamine, right? And that's like the happy chemical. Like anything you do that brings you joy gives you a little dopamine. So like eating a cookie or eating a apple or watching a movie or hanging out with friends or riding your skateboard, like anything that you enjoy like hits that dopamine sensor. But like the issue with kind of the short form media content is like you're getting constant dopamine, like 1 second after the other, and then like that, like you're on this high of dopamine, and then you like, maybe we're all guilty of like I put the phone away after doom scrolling for an hour, and like now my brain feels like mush. Now I have to navigate through the rest of the day, and I kind of feel awful.
Well, and it plays off your algorithm too, because it's what you spend the most time on, so it starts feeding you that. Yeah. It's this endless cycle.
And so when it comes to discipling, like I guess I'm self-aware enough to see like some of these sort of like family content, like you see kind of a family doing the family thing online, and it's like their family looks really cool, and then like you see the next family and like everything kind of seems perfect, but then like you're not, kind of like Pastor Josh was saying, like you're not getting the full spectrum of everything going on. You're seeing the highlights, and like now you're comparing yourself to the rest of the world. You don't even know these people. It's that parasocial thing, and now you think like you're falling behind, you're lagging behind because you don't have what they have, and it's like what everyone you see online has that, when like probably the reality is everyone around you in your real life doesn't have that, and it's like this is the normal.
Yeah. It's just this cycle that just goes.
Yeah, and just so you know that Thomas isn't being like extreme or over the top, like I pulled up the graph. It's out of the book Jonathan Haidt wrote, a book, The Anxious Generation. And from 2008 to 2020, anxiety went up 134%. Depression went up 106%. And that correlates with the cell phone really coming into existence 2010 to 2015.
The smartphone.
The smartphone, yeah. So when I graduated from college in 2010, and all of my freshmen on my dorm floor where I was an RA, they all had a smartphone. That was 2010. I'll always remember that. And that's the time when really it was in everybody's hands. And that to the anxiety to go up that much, like that's, yeah.
And The Anxious Generation is a book that all three of us have read. We absolutely recommend it. It is a great book. It'll give you a lot
Recommend
of
is an interesting. You should, every parent should read it. It's not fun. Like I'm not recommending as like, this is going to be an enjoyable read by the beach.
Yeah, it's a hard read.
Like, yeah, it's not. Yeah.
And hard because there's a lot of stats and whatnot, but hard also because it's kind of putting reality in your face.
Because the truth is, parents are dealing with this also. The three of us, we also have our challenges around social media. And all.
Yeah. I think why it's a challenge for everyone is like, well, my generation, like I'm with Josh, your son, of like I remember pretty much all up through middle school, like growing up, going to the backyard, like hopping over the fence, playing with friends all afternoon, and then coming back home. And then in high school, like getting the smartphone. But now, now every student is growing up with that. And I think I guess the point I was trying to remember as I was losing my train of thought was we're kind of as parents are dealing with it. Like we were the guinea pig generation. We like as my generation as students, like we didn't know what was right or wrong. And now like we're seeing the consequences of high anxiety, high depression. Now the parents of this generation don't know what to do with it either because it was all new for everybody. And like now, like just now, like in the last 2 to 3 years, like we're starting to find the rhythm, but now we're throwing AI and that's a whole other thing. And
yeah, I feel like when I remember when you were in youth group and I can't remember, Kyle, we would play this trivia game. And it was very social because we would all sit and play it together. But there was never a, hey, guys, put your phones away. There was never a, hey, we got to leave them outside. And we slowly started seeing that creep in. Do you struggle with that? Do you see students who are...
I'll see it here and there. Fortunately, I don't see it enough where it's an issue, which is good. And I think the students that come to youth group recognize, like, this is an awesome time to just be around one another. I'm not saying like phones don't ever come up. Like there's been plenty of times where I'll be like, hey, just put your phone away and stay with us. And like usually they do. But I mean, it's just a distraction. And some, like we do that on mission trips, right? Like you built that in the culture of like, we don't bring our phones on mission trips. And like, I've been on trips where we have had the phones and where we haven't had the phones. And like every time we have the phones, like it's more of an issue and hindrance than a help.
Yeah, it's interesting to me to see students that after a week without their phone really identify they're better. Yeah. And I don't know how I'm going to go back to it. That was some of the conversations we would have is how do I go back to it and balance it? Because they notice such a noticeable difference. My son gave up Instagram for Lent and he noticed it. He was like, I have all this time and, and I don't feel as connected as I was.
Yeah, I remember when I was living in Nashville, I did a media fast, like I think it was just after Lent. It might have been during Lent or just after, but I was like, I'm going to do 50 days, no media. And the rules was like no visual media. And so like no TV, no YouTube, no like video games. And like my one rule was if I can do it shoulder to shoulder with someone, then I can do it. So like I can play like video games in its earliest, like you were sitting split screen with your buddy, like playing video games, or like you go see a movie, like you're sitting next to someone. So that was my one rule. But I remember like day one, like hour one after work, like I have nothing to do. And I'm like, okay, I can't have my phone out. I'm pretty lonely. I can't just like drown that out with 3 hours of scrolling or YouTube. Is like, I better reach out to a friend. And I think like that's sort of the reality we have, like this student generation has with our phones of like we don't realize that we're lonely a lot of the times. Like we've just drowned out those feelings, whether we recognize them or not, with the phone. And then it's only once we put them down, it's like, oh, like I have a lot of loneliness and depression within me. But then because we haven't learned how to do that, it's like, okay, I don't know what to do with that. So I'm just going to go back to the phone because what else would I do?
And I think how often are we as parents modeling that to our kids too? Like even, so, and this is younger kids than teens, but like, and my guess it's happening there too, but like, I encourage parents to go to the park and take your kids to the park and leave your phone at home. And what you'll see around the outside all of these parents not socializing, but looking at their phones while their kids are playing. And they'll look up every once in a while, and some of them will almost like freak out because it's like, oh, I lost my kid, and oh, there he is, and then they breathe. But they're literally like, they take the kids to the park so that they can scroll, I think. And I don't think they do that intentionally, but subconsciously. And so like if you go to the park without your phone, and I wonder how much we do that to teenage kids too, that like, why are you on your phone so much while we pull it out and we're on it?
I went to Chili's a couple weeks ago and was having dinner and watched and looked around, and the number of people that were on their phones and not even conversing as a family or whatever. They were just all on their phones.
Yeah, well, it's easier.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's intention behind that easier. Like, I'm intentionally on my phone because I don't want to engage with people. But then I think a lot of the time it's just like secondhand. Like, how many times do we all just reach for our phone to check it when we have no reason to check it? And
I feel like this is a topic that we go back to a lot. And so we're convicted.
Yeah, well, and I'm going to say I go back to it because I see it in myself. Yeah. Like, I'm just going to be honest and like put myself out there that I talk about it because I need to do better with it, right? Like I'm not great with it.
Yeah, we all do. So let's kind of make this turn of how do we get Jesus in the top 3? and so I want to start with parents because we believe that it's not just the church's job, right? We're in partnership with parents. So Thomas, if you could say anything to parents about how we get Jesus in the top 3, what would you love to say?
I think parents are the primary disciplers of their kids. Like, it's awesome that they send their kids to youth group or confirmation or Sunday school, and like hopefully we can be as the church we can be a big piece. But like parents, you have the biggest influence in your kids' faith life. And when it comes to technology, I think it's being self-aware enough to take the step back and maybe not use the iPad or the cell phone as the pacifier, because it can definitely be that. Like it pacifies me. I'm sure I've seen it pacify kids, but like instead of handing the iPad to your kid to like calm them down, like shut them up, it's like, no, like how can we deal with what's going on and taking the hard route? I think at the end of the day, like all of this is like, how can I choose the hard route because it's going to lead to better rather than the easy short-term route?
And I just did the math. You have 6,570 days with your kid from the time they are born to the time they go to college. 6,570 days. What are you doing?
Yeah.
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 And that time, take half of that because they're sleeping. Well, yeah, sleeping. Yeah. So really you have 3,000 days of FaceTime with them,
which feels like a lot, but then not a lot at all. Like I don't have a kid, but I know like both you do, and like I'm sure it flies by, right?
Yeah. Well, that just dawned on me the other day. Caleb's 9. I don't know why this dawned on me.
There.
I'm halfway.
You're halfway.
It's that like, and it's like, no, he's still little, but no, he's not. Yeah.
So I think with that, like some practical examples, this is what Jonathan Haidt talks about in his book. He recommends no smartphone until 15, like the age of 15, and then like no social media till 16. It's like that easy ramp up into smart technology rather than, because I was just given the iPhone 4S. That was my first iPhone, and it was the first one that had Siri, and it's like, here you go. And it's like that led to all sorts of like not good things just because there's unrestricted access. I never had like parental controls, but it's like parents didn't know. But like parents, you have control of those things that you can set solid parental controls and limit the smartphone. But then you'll hear the pushback from students of like, well, like Timmy has an iPhone, he got one in 6th grade. Like if I don't have one, I'm gonna miss out on all my friends and see what they're doing. It's like, well, like we were able to do it in the past, like we can do it again. And there is some reality to that. But again, I think it's taking that hard route of like, okay, like how can we mitigate that? Like Jonathan Haidt talks about like, let's make a coalition of parents that we all vow not till 15, but like the realism of that like doesn't seem great for like, okay, all these parents are going to band together and all their kids are no phones till 15. I think it's more like get them the dumb phone. Like you can text and call on that. Flip phone. Yeah. Like
and flip phones are actually making their way back.
Yeah.
Students actually are finding they like the simpler phone.
Yeah.
Well, on that topic of the coalition of parents banding together, I think, and I don't know that anybody's ever done this formally, but kind of I've noticed it like in my ministry from like when I first started and parents were all on board with the kid having a phone in middle school to now, like I think the last few confirmation classes, a lot of them they don't have smartphones. And I've really seen that change in my ministry. It used to be that everybody did. And so at least here at Peace with Christ, there seems to be a number of people that are operating more in the I'm going to wait a little longer than I saw 15 years ago, let's say.
What would your recommendation be, Thomas?
I think it's probably the more practical thing because the coalition's hit or miss. Like if you can find a group of parents that like can band together and like, hey, like we're going to do the best thing for our students and like just wait, like that's awesome. Like do that. Jonathan Haidt also talks about we have so much sort of control over, I'll have to ramble a bit to get there, but like the physical reality of our kids and like not the digital reality. And so there's like unfettered access digitally, but then we're so afraid of what could happen to our kids in real life that we don't let them go outside or ride their bikes or do these things. And so like another practical thing is like building that trust with your student to go outside and play. Like, can you trust them to go ride their bike without a phone for an hour around the neighborhood? Like, I remember I grew up doing that. Like, 3 hours, we'd just be riding the bike around the neighborhood, playing whatever game we were playing, and then we'd show up and like, oh yeah, you're fine. We didn't have any issue. Or like my dad would send me on my skateboard to the Safeway down the street. And it's like, okay, like give me some cash and do that. It's like building those little trust opportunities. Like, can you send your kid or kids together to walk down the street and go buy some groceries for you?
At the right age.
Like you don't want to send your 5-year-old Elijah. You don't want to send him on his own.
But even that, so like we've let Caleb walk from church to our house, which is about a quarter mile is all. And I was at one side, somebody else was like, we've got parented shamed for doing that.
Yeah.
Like, why would you let your kids do that? It's like, well, way safer than giving them an iPad with YouTube on it, right? Like, you know.
Yeah. And like finding those moments like where you can build the trust, and that's the hard thing for parents of like, we hear all the stories of the kids on milk cartons, right? But like I think the statistics would show like the reality of a kid going missing is like nearly zero. That's not impossible. It's happened, and like we always be wary about that and wise with that. But building that independence within your kid is huge. Like I'm not a parent. I imagine both of you probably have the same mindset of like, I want my future kid to be able to thrive in the world without me. Like whenever that time would come, and like that can't happen unless they get those opportunities to be on their own and do something hard on their own.
And that's usually my response, like when somebody does, and it's usually not quite shaming. Most of the people are like, really? You do that? I'm like, yeah, it's safer for me to work on my kids' anxiety now than guard and protect them and not let them do anything. Because the studies would say if I give them, and I actually say it this way, if I give them reasonable danger now, it'll help with their anxiety later. And that's how we approach it. Reasonable danger. Now, again, we're not telling them go cross an interstate today, like, or go walk 3 miles, but a quarter mile, when we know that you've walked there before, we'll let you do that.
So this would be the conversation that we would hope that parents would have with their students, and we would hope that they would want to see that discipleship grow away from social media. What conversation do students need to have with their parents around this, and they're afraid to?
Yeah, I think when it comes to all the mental health stuff, there's like a whole lot there. And I think the challenge with that is it's invisible, right? Like it's mental. Like, yeah, you can kind of see the symptoms of it, like kind of play out in day to day, and parents can definitely pick up on that, like whether you have an anxious student or depressed student. But I think for the student, it's building and having that relationship with their parent where they can come and be like, hey, like I'm struggling with this, like whether it's depression or anxiety or maybe some of the things that are causing that of like tech use, or I saw something online, I don't know what this is, and like pornography would be another big one of like, do you have the relationship with your parent to not be ashamed of it, of hey, like I saw this, like I don't like what I saw, like move forward, or as a parent, like hey, like I know you saw this, like how can I love you and not shame you into seeing something like this. But yeah, I think it's building those relationships, conversations like hey, like I guess I feel like students a lot of the times don't know what they want or know what's out there for them. And I think it might start with the parent of like raising the red flags, like, hey, like I'm seeing this in you, like, can you talk to me about that? And then giving the student the opportunity to bring that up. But I think a lot of the times, just because of we've like the generation now has grown up with it, they don't know any different, and the parents do, like they grew up without it, and like they're either before me or like right on the edge with me where we grew up without it and now we are experiencing it. But like the students say, they don't know what they don't know. And so I think it's parents helping them, but then the students having the comfort to trust the parent.
Do you think there's also a piece of the parents are also wading through their own mental health and their own struggles around social media and the balance?
Definitely.
And they're also struggling in their faith also?
I think so. I think it's probably more, I think the trends and stats would show that the mental health in general has declined over just everybody. But like when you specifically look at the younger generations, like it is off the charts. And so I'm not going to say there isn't mental health stuff with parents, but I think it's like parents, again, we don't know how to navigate it. Like we're figuring it out right now of how to navigate it. And like if you were a kid that had a like super joyful childhood, you didn't really deal with anxiety, depression, and now you're a parent and now you're seeing your kid with depression, anxiety, it's like this is new territory for you.
And there's no shame.
No.
I like how you said that earlier. Let's just have the conversation. Yeah. Don't worry about others judging you or what they're going to think. This is a relationship with your student, and you get to have that. You're called to have that.
Yeah.
Just have it.
Well,
yeah.
I think this lie we have in parenting sometimes too is, and it comes from a kind of our expert culture, that I want to go to the expert to get the answer. So I want to get my kid to a counselor so that they can fix them. And I think like we don't help our kids because we're experts in something. We like, for instance, like I'm not great talking about my feelings, but there's a need for that. And so like I'm teaching my kids to do something that I don't know how to do because I see the value in it, right? And I think sometimes we want to be the expert in it and then I can teach my kids. No, like you take what you know. Like so many teachers say your goal as a teacher is to be one step ahead of the students, just one, right? Like you can teach if you just know a little bit. And I think we got to get out of this, like I got to be an expert to teach my kids and say, well, what can I teach them about Jesus? What can I teach them about anxiety? What can I teach? Like what can I teach them? And it doesn't have to be everything to teach a little to be helpful.
And what can I teach them about margins? Like, let's do this in a healthy way. We could do it together. Maybe we even do it together.
Yeah.
Your son or daughter says, I'm struggling with how to manage this. Well, you know what? I am too. Yeah. Let's do this together.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest way we can, I don't know, fight social media, but it's just doing life together. I think when we talked about the mission trips and getting rid of phones there, and like the biggest thing students see, whether they kind of clock it or not, it's that they're doing life together for a week and they don't have a distraction in front of them 24/7 or in their pocket 24/7. And I think as the parent to student, like what Donna's saying, like, yeah, let's do it together. Like, let's go to the park together. Let's throw football. Let's swing together. Let's do whatever. It's just doing it together. Like, not like seizing those opportunities. Like Donna was saying, you got 6,000 something days to disciple your kid, and like it's gonna go quick, and like you want to cherish those moments. And yeah, you might be tired from work, and like there's some reality to that. And like I have a dog is the closest thing I have a kid to right now, and it's like half the time I don't want to go play fetch with him. Well, it'll be good for him and it'll be good for me if I go play fetch with him rather than just sitting on my butt scrolling or watching TV or whatever.
Thomas,
there's a verse that's so helpful in this that I just want to share. But all things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be dominated by anything. And I think just that an understanding that, like, there might not be necessarily anything wrong with scrolling your phone all day, but is it helpful? Is it helpful to do that? Is it something we want to dominate us? What's helpful is being with other people, and how do we prioritize that?
And how do I get Jesus, not top 10, not top 5 or 3, but number 1 in my life and in yours? Thomas, I want to give you kind of the closing comment. What do you want to say to parents and students who are listening to this?
I think seek out community and seek out Christian community and you'll find Jesus. He doesn't hide. I think that's the cool thing about God. Like he's not behind under the box and like you got to search the attic for him. It's like he is with you right now. And like if you want a life and life to the full, that's what John 10:10 talks about. Like it's there. You just have to look for it a little bit. Like it's not hard to find, but like find those opportunities. Like, does your kid want to play outside? Like, yeah, let's go play outside, or whatever it might be. Like just finding those opportunities, and Jesus would be there. And like there's plenty of opportunities at the church, right? Like we do our best to create those opportunities, and we could probably do better in creating more opportunities for families and students, but doing it together, I think, is the biggest thing. Like whether it's let your student hang out with their friends more, or you just hang out with your family more, like it's all valuable. So community.
We appreciate you, and we appreciate your leadership to our students and your wisdom that you brought to the table today. And we appreciate you for listening, and we hope that you'll join us for the next Jesus-Centric Life. Have a great day.